Bueno, pues que representa el profesor Keisuke Kitagawa, viene de la Universidad de Nagoya, es profesor de proyectos allí, de más cosas también. Simultáneamente es profesor en varias universidades del mundo como profesor invitado y da clases por Skype, o sea, está en todas partes. De hecho, viene de Boston, ha rebotado en Japón, luego viene aquí, luego se va a Fiji, después vuelve a Filipinas, después vuelve a Viena, no lo sé, me he perdido ya. Todo eso en un mes. Así que puedes, fantástico. Vais a ver que es una persona con una grandísima energía en todo lo que hace. Ha desarrollado varias patentes y una de ellas es la que os va a presentar hoy con resultados y con proyectos literalmente en todo el mundo. Bueno, ¿is it working? Yeah.
So thank you, Fernando, and the University Polytechnic Valencia for welcoming me. And I have created a housing project of mobile and temporary housing, which achieves lower cost than the standardized housing and compact packing and easy construction without any carpenters and comfortable living environment. And today I would like to speak about how I get the idea for instant house and many sources of my inspiration. So at first, so how many people knows about Nagoya in Japan? Okay, 5 or 6 or something. Okay, so Nagoya is a fourth populated city in Japan, located in the center of Nagoya. In Japan, and the area is famous as the largest industrial area and the manufacturing area in Japan. And there are many headquarters and institutes of industrial companies like Toyota or Mitsubishi or Brother or something like that. And this is one of the websites from my university, Nagoya Institute of Technology, and he is the president of NITEC, and he is in charge of the hybrid engine from the Department of Electricity and Mechanical Engineering. And we often have the deep relationship between the professors because I'm living at the apartment close to the university, and he is living at the same apartment. So when I want to have some meeting with him, I always wait him at night at the lobby of the apartment. And then he always take me to the bar, Japanese traditional bar. So he is the president of Ukai, and me, and also he is a son of president of NITEC. And he is also the architect, and he has his own office in Nagoya. So we always collaborate with the president and graduates and also companies and NGO or government or something like that. And this is one of the photo of my laboratory, because in Japan we have a laboratory system, not like a studio system. So we have 40 members, including the undergraduate students and the master students, and also I think I have 4 doctor candidates at my laboratory, and also the international students and 4 secretary. And she is from UPB, Maria, and he's from Technical University Vienna, Fabian, and he's also from Technical University Vienna, Austria, Benhard, and he studied at Technical University Vienna. And she's from Afghanistan, from Kabul University, to make a master course at Kabul University. And he is also from Kabul University, Afghanistan, and he is a doctor candidate, and he studied at the GSD, Graduate School of Design, at Harvard University in the United States. And he is planning to get a doctor degree from my laboratory now. And he studied at Dubai, and we have several Chinese students from Tongji University in China, And also he studied at UPB here, Daishi, in 2009 or 2008 when UPB had a solar decathlon project in Spain. It's 2008 or 2010 or something like that. And he also studied at the Philippines to develop the local housing. And he studied at in the Vietnam under the supervision of the architect Bo Chong-gia. How many people know how many students know the Bo Chong-gia? He's a Vietnam architect, and he graduated from my laboratory 20 years ago. And he's now I think he's national architect in Vietnam. He designed the Vietnam pavilion in the Milano exposition and also the Shanghai exposition and so on. Right. And we also have this kind of cultural exchange in Nagoya. And she's Maria from UPB. And they wear my wife's kimono, Japanese traditional wear. And we take them to the tea ceremony. And this is one of the news in the evening. On April 1st in 2013 or 2014, and the day, the two exchange students from UPB have just arrived in Nagoya. And we took them to cherry blossom party because it's April 1st. And they appear on the TV program. Because we have a big cherry blossom park next to my university, so it's easy to have cherry blossom party every day. From the end of this month till the beginning of next month. April 1st and there from UPB. So they study architecture, Spain. Bosco and Anna. It's the first day in Japan. Like this. So please come to Nagoya anytime you have time. So we welcome you at the Tsuruma Park, which has many of the cherry blossom. And so this is the lecture. And, my father is a chef of Japanese traditional mochi cake in Nagoya, Japan, close to Nagoya Castle. And in general, there are four seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter, right? In general. But in Japan, we have 24 seasons a year. And we design about 8 kinds of mochi cakes per season. So in mochi cake, there are limited natural ingredients like sticky rice and red and white bean. It's very limited. And using only 7 to 8 ingredients, we create over 200 different seasonal mochi cakes. And it's easy to change the shape and the taste and with different combination of limited kinds of ingredients. And the combinations are very important on this kind of the food production. And Nagoya holds many records, and the first patent was the headquarters of an industrial cooperative builder. And there are many sources of inspiration for us to learn from in Nagoya. And I am curious. I have been interested in how people innovated and created inventions. And since I began teaching at the university in Nagoya in 2001, 18 years ago, I have had many opportunities to talk and communicate with professors and researchers. And each has their own specialty in the Department of Engineering. And I noticed that inventors always think and watch very, very simply. And it's not so difficult also for us to understand their philosophy for simplicity. And in 2009, 10 years ago, I established the university radio station on the website like this. And it's like a podcast to interview many faculty members and share their ideas. And every week, I visited their laboratory or institute and learned about their sources of inspiration. And this is another podcast. In 2011, 8 years ago, I also established the Nagoya radio station, not a university radio station, but a Nagoya radio station. It's a little bit bigger than the university radio station, to interview presidents of companies like Toyota or Mitsubishi, people who manage global business, experts in manufacturing, or people who hold Guinness Books of World Records. And before I uploaded the podcast to the radio station website, I had to edit and cut some part of the interview because they talked about trade secrets, I mean the company secrets, or original information like how they created the inventions or about how they observe the world. And from these interviews, I got so many insights. I mean, I learned many insightful things and got many of ideas how we can get the invention. And the next several slides are about inventions from around Nagoya. And how many people know pachinko game? It's like a slot machine in Europe. Did you try pachinko? Okay, I did it. Pachinko. The pachinko game was innovated by Mr. Masamura in Nagoya in 1930s. In this period, Japan was in a recession just before the World War. And Mr. Masamura wanted people to be happy and distract them from their suffering. And he found many scrap materials like plywood, and plain glass, and nails, and spring, and also the ball bearing in the warehouse near Toyota City. And then he just combined these 5 parts into a box game named Pachinko. And the people enjoyed Pachinko for their entertainment. Yes. So this is a new Pachinko game now. And he was successful at making people enjoy Pachinko. And that today, 5% of GNP, gross amount of national product in Japan, is attributed to Pachinko. In Japan, 5%. The name of Pachinko comes from the high sound the ball bearing hitting the glass, like pachin pachin. So this game is like Pachinko. Through the very simple combination of 5 scrap products, Mr. Masamura made a big innovation and also a big business. So in the 18th century, some merchants in Nagoya started the original second-hand shop. It's almost like a recycle shop. And nowadays, about 60% of second-hand shops in Japan are located around Nagoya. And Nagoya people like to buy second-hand items, also for me. And there is nothing negative associated with recycling and reusing. People around Nagoya are basically very frugal. And mothers and daughters regularly trade the high-branded bags and clothes with each other and sell and buy reused items in Nagoya. And people around Nagoya always think about recycling and reusing. And this is a traditional harp, and this is a Nagoya harp. This is a traditional harp, and the second one is a Nagoya harp. And you can see the simplified keyboards, yet we can still play beautiful music. The traditional harp, that one, needs much training and takes long time to learn and to play. But the Nagoya harp is very easy for beginners to play. And the Nagoya harp holds a Guinness Book of World Records, where about 3,000 ladies played Beethoven's music at music hall at the same time. So can you guess what this is? Wasabi powder? Right. So some of the students say the green tea or something like that. And so it's wasabi powder. And can you guess what is made from? So that's the original wasabi roots. But wasabi powder is made from horseradish skin. You know, right? Okay. So it's easy to get leftover horseradish at food markets, restaurants and food factories. And it's almost free of charge. And it's less costly than fresh root wasabi. And fresh root wasabi is difficult to get grow and easy roses. It's spicy and sweet flavor after chefs grate it at restaurant. And wasabi powder is easy to preserve at home and also easy keeps it spicy and sweet flavor. And using horseradish skin to make wasabi powder was a wonderful simple invention. So anytime you eat some piece of sushi with wasabi, Nagoya City gets a small tax from Spain or so everything. So the people eat Chinese cabbage all over the world, particularly in Asia. Do you have this kind of Chinese cabbage in Malaysia? Okay. So before 20th century, the shape of Chinese cabbage was not round shape, but it's also like a flower shape. It's open to the top. And Mr. Nozaki, a farmer in Nagoya, added a very simple technique and reshaped the cabbage in early 20th century. And the Chinese cabbage is a winter product and it's easily damaged from winter frost or cold temperature. And after Mr. Nozaki changed its shape to the round shape, the exterior leaves protect the inside and it became easier to grow in the winter. And it was very, very simple improvement by Mr. Nozaki. And after this improvement, the price of Chinese cabbage became cheaper and helped to reduce major food problems in cold areas. Again, the small ideas leads to new ways of seeing what is already there. And this is the largest, biggest steamed mochi cake ever made in the world. And my father made this at my wedding ceremony 15 years ago. And gorgeous wedding ceremonies in Nagoya are famous. And we celebrate wedding with this kind of huge mochi cakes. So look at the shape. And this mochi cake is called Fuji Mountain. It's the highest mountain in Japan, and the shape is very stable. When I was thinking about instant house, I got inspiration from this shape. So you know the huge earthquake in 2011 in Japan, and we got a huge tsunami also hit eastern Japan. And over 5,000 died from the earthquake and tsunami. And Japan has huge natural disasters like earthquake or typhoons, flooding, landslide also, every year, almost every month. So this is the live news on March 11 in 2011. And 1 hour after a big earthquake, a huge tsunami came to the city area like this, and people had no time to escape. And can you guess the height of this tsunami from the sea level? The highest wave was 30 meters from the sea level in some areas. 30 meters, it's very high. So can you imagine such a high tsunami from the sea? And most of the city was under the water. So most evacuation spaces in Japan are elementary school and middle school in each district. And 99% of buildings and housing got destroyed by the tsunami. So there was not enough space for people to live for 3 to 6 months. And this is a photo one of the evacuation space. People had to live in these conditions at the evacuation site for between 3 and 6 months. People live in evacuation spaces in zen and sleep on cots. And there were much mental and physical stress, less privacy, less sleep, and many other problems. And I visited the site just after 2 weeks from the big tsunami. And when I visited the site to the sports gym at the elementary school, 2 elementary school students took me outside to the ground and told me it seems to take at least 3 months to build temporary housing. It's very long, 3 months. And why does it take 3 months? They asked me. And these students' questions made a strong impression on me 8 years ago. And I knew it would take several months to build housing. These kinds of temporary housing and the type of housing people live in. And this experience led me to begin the research project we can call now Instant House. And the population on Earth is about 7 billion now, and there is a great need for housing. And about 20 to 30% of people do not have housing now on Earth. And in many places in Africa or in Asia, as a location of natural disaster, or for example in Syria, which has many refugee people, do not have housing for their families. So they have no address. Right? So some people live on the street or in the forests. In desert climates, near the equator, it's very hot in the daytime, but at night it's very, very cold. So it's very difficult to keep a constant, comfortable temperature and humidity with large fluctuations in temperature and humidity every day. And I continue some of the slides. I got inspiration. There are some items from our daily life which I got inspiration. It takes 3 minutes to become soft, and we put hot water. After we put hot water, I don't know how well this cup of noodle soup tastes, but it's got a very long shelf life. It's very portable, and it's easy to cook and easy to eat. Right? Cup noodle. And what do you think the original volume, the bread ingredients were? The bread is the size is like this, but the original volume of this small loaf of bread is very small, right? And bread is lightweight, and bakers try to get the ideal hardness of the types of crust. It's important for bakers to have many their own baking techniques to make different breads. So I always wear this kind of down jackets, and down jackets or down shoes are lightweight also. Down with air provides warmth with natural air insulation. It's soft and compact. I believe housing design in the future will be similar in design to the design of these kind of clothes. And foam with air made of natural air achieves high soundproofing. We need soundproofing when we build housing. And if we use these materials for housing, sounds from outside do not come in, and sound from inside of the house does not escape. And so, if we can, we use much more natural air for the architecture material, we can create many advantages over the existing products. So then, we started so many experiments. This is my first experiment with my family. I have 3 kids, 14, 12, and 10 years. And at my apartment, we made it this. This is a photo when my family and I tried to make a sculpture with long balloons 8 years ago. It took about 2 hours with 3 children and my wife. And we used about 200 long balloons, which is a Piero or some of the entertainer use. And it cost about €8 in total to make this sculpture. So after we made this balloon sculpture, our children went inside the sculpture. They felt warm and it was quiet inside. And anytime they wanted a window to get a light, air or view, they opened the window like there. Just break some part of the balloon. And I continued these types of experiments at the university with laboratory members. And if you have 600 newspapers and scotch tape, you can make this newspaper balloon. And can you guess how long it took to complete this newspaper balloon and how much this newspaper balloon cost to inflate? And before inflating the newspaper balloon, it took 5 students 2 hours to take the newspapers at the sports gym. And then it took 15 minutes to inflate the balloon of this size with a normal circulator, which I always use at the laboratory. It's a small circulator. And then it took, and the newspaper is free in the world, so it costs only €5 for scotch tape. And it's really easy to make these kinds of newspaper balloon with kids, children. And this is the inside of the newspaper balloon. And we can play the badminton or table tennis or something like that. Also, we can adjust or design the lighting conditions with the color of newspapers. So some parts can be dark and some parts can be bright. Okay, so this is the first prototype of instant house in 2 years ago, and a 2 meters square plan with 3 meters height ceiling. And at first, we inflated this 3-dimensional seat balloon with a small circulator. It took about 10 minutes. Then sprayed insulation foam from inside. That's it. And it took about 15 minutes to construct a small house like this. And if we have a 3-dimensional seat balloon and the insulation foam liquid, we don't need any other special material. And insulation liquid increases to 100 times its original volume. The volume of water bottle will become the volume of 100 water bottles. And this is just like a bread example, bread, which I talked about earlier. So, instant house has several important characteristics. It's very lightweight, it's easy to bring, and low cost, and compact packaging, adaptable insulation, and ideal soundproofing. And currently, some companies in the US and Germany have also invented high transparent foam materials. It's very clear, so we can get the sunlight from through this wall. And this is an experiment I did with students at the university just one day before huge typhoon came in July 2017, 2 years ago. Because it's good timing for the experiment under the typhoon conditions. And it took 2 hours to build this instant house. At first we inflate the membrane, and this size is 30 square meters, which is the same as standard temporary housing for one family, like 4 people or 5 people in Japan. And we got a huge typhoon the next day, and there is no damage. And we are working with architecture regulation and architecture law in each country, and this housing structure will last for 10 years if we use stronger seats for the exterior. And there is a low height window for ventilation of natural air underneath the wall, close to the ground, and all around the housing. In the case of instant house, if we get a breeze, the gentle breeze maintains a comfortable warm and cool temperature inside. So it doesn't matter if the outside temperature is freezing or boiling, the inside temperature is comfortable. So, and we always collaborate with the structure engineer and also the environmental engineers at my university. And this is another experiment in Hokkaido last summer in July, just before the big typhoon. And the size is about 80 square meters for 4 people, like this. And at first we inflate the membrane, and we use the standard tent seat for this case because the owner of this house is it's secret, but you record the video. The very, very important person of the mobile phone company in Japan, president of the mobile phone company, and he gave us the big budget to have this kind of experiment. And it took 10 hours to get hardened with the insulation foam. And also, we can use this instant house in agriculture to grow delicious and expensive mushroom called matsutake, like this one. And it costs about €100 or something like that per one. And instant house has ideal conditions for mushrooms to grow as quickly as possible with its constant temperature and humidity. And it took 20 minutes to inflate this agriculture house, and it took 4 hours to get hardened, and that's it. And we can keep under the winter condition, like deep snow conditions. And it's easy to carry a package instant house with this kind of small backpack, and to the side. And the instant house has a compact packaging, and it's very lightweight. And it takes 1 hour to build a small instant house with installation. And the instant house maintains comfortable conditions inside in every season. Even in hot summers, like in Nagoya, in summer, it's around 40 degrees in summer, the temperature is. But inside of the instant house, it's around the 30 degrees or 28 or something like that, without any air conditioners. So adaptable insulation and ideal soundproofing is very important for this kind of, also for this kind of temporary housing. And it's easy to construct instant house on site. Natural disaster victims or refugees can construct their instant house with huge professional carpenters. And best of all, most importantly, the total cost is very low to manufacture and assemble an instant house. And we used some of the insulation foam for buildings, which you can use also in Valencia. But we are trying to use the soil with organic glue with air, so we can get the material on site. And also we are planning, I will make an experiment next time, before summer in Japan. We use a flour powder to make this kind of instant house, so we can eat like bread. And it's much more organic, and it's easy to recycle the materials. And what do you think about this kind of housing? I invented this instant house for temporary housing after the big tsunami in 2011. And we can also use the instant house for standardized housing or camping shelter in winter instead of using a general seat tent. We can have warm camping during the winter. And this is my goal. My goal is to donate many of instant house kits to victims and refugees in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. And I talked with a very important person, like a queen in Jordan. I think she's famous, right? The queen of in Jordan.
Yes.
Yeah. I made him. I already made her about this kind of project, and I have already contacted some international also aid organization to help people live in a home. So today I spoke about how I got the idea for instant house and many sources of my inspiration. I would like to tell you the following two things. Take the opportunities to develop your ability to see other inventions. It's easy to get the information via the website, and if you have a chance to have an interview to the people who has patents, you can get so many ideas and knowledge and experiences, and observe the things around you in the daily life and your daily routine. It will be very, very easy for you to find those new possibilities. And secondly, there is a difference between mathematics and inventions. And 1 plus 1 equals 2 in mathematics. In the field of inventions, 1 plus 1 can easily be more than 2. Some combinations of one and another could have unbelievable outcome. So can you see the shape of instant house? Okay, thank you. And so this is a video at my wedding party 15 years ago. So this is the largest Japanese traditional mochi cake made by my father. Generally, we use a Western cake, but in tradition, we used to use this kind of big mochi cake. He's my father, and it's me and my wife. Like this. So I got so many impressions from these kind of food productions, like cooking or like this. Okay, so we have a question and okay, thank you.
Bueno, creo que ha sido una lección estupenda de cómo se puede aprender de cualquier cosa, cómo podemos sacar inspiración para diseñar arquitectura de cualquier cosa. Y solo basta tener una mentalidad abierta y lo que decía él, tener curiosidad, ¿no? ¿Preguntas? ¿Hay micrófono para...? Bueno, ¿puedes hablar alto, por favor?
En castellano o en inglés.
Como tú veas, si puedes hablar en inglés, pues me ahorras la traducción.
No, te digo en castellano.
Vale.
¿Por qué 1 más 1 no es igual a 2?
Why 1 plus 1 is not... Why 1 plus 1 doesn't equal 2?
Oh, right. In the field of invention.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, right.
I understand what
Oh,
you're
right.
saying. So,
Because as for the instant house, it's only the combination of the membrane and the material with spray, with air from inside. That's only the combination of the two materials. But there were no patent to build this kind of structure or sculpture with a membrane, inflated membrane, and sprayed the materials from inside. And I applied the domestic patent also, and also international patent through this kind of how to make the structure.
so I mean, like, we have international patent and like national one, so they combine to just get that.
Yeah, right. So nobody has this kind of patent, and we have actually I have this patent, and many of the companies want to buy the patent, but it might be, I don't know how much, but how much. But I always sell these kind of inventions or patents or something like that from university. Yes. Thank you.
One question?
The building you made with papers, what's the connection between the papers?
Yes, we used the Scotch tape, like a cellophane tape. It's very cheap, right? This one, right? Yeah. And we sometimes use a sewing machine to make these 3D membrane balloon. Because the headquarters of the Brother is famous as a printing machine or factory machine, but the Brother is originally the sewing machine company in Nagoya. So it's easy to get the good sewing machine from Brother company, and we always sew this kind of membrane to make the 3D shape.
And thank you very much. It was a very interesting and very original point of view of architecture. And thank you for the cultural review from your country. It was really nice. Did you ever consider that this kind of architecture you're creating, did you ever consider that they can also be like act as lamps in cities or things like this? I think there is a huge possibility that you can play with light and things like this. Did you consider other things?
Can I show another slide? And I also made a big sculpture. Just a moment.
Go ahead.
No, I think it's fine. Okay, yeah. So I mean the unique shape of the character of the. It is one of the famous character of the Japanese castle. It's called the Elizabeth. Not Elizabeth, but Ebi is a shrimp, and fried shrimp is famous in Nagoya. So this is Elizabeth, and we inherited this shape like this. Because most of this kind of character in Japan has some of the cushion like a doll, so it's the shape of the inflated. So it's very easy to make this kind of shape like this. So and we made this with the the middle school students, 10 to 15 middle school students and laboratory members and some of the insulation companies. Yeah. So this summer I will build this kind of characterized shape with the flower powder, and then at the lab party we eat it. Yeah.
Well, thank you for your presentation. I understood that this work is kind of prototype and you are still working with.
Yes.
But I have curiosity more than a question. Is it possible to see the inner part of this big balloon?
Oh.
Because you have shown exterior.
Inside of the inside
Yes.
house.
To feel how comfy, how comfortable to be in space.
Yeah. Right. It's almost like in the cave.
Yes.
So
But
there are.
yesterday you have presented us a general picture from the big balloon structure,
Yeah.
the first one that you have prepared, but you have not shown the students inner pictures of the little ones.
All right. Yeah.
I don't know.
You mean interior?
Yes,
Interior.
of these elements.
So.
I don't know.
And we can put the plaster on the wall. So we can put so many kinds of the materials on the surface of the insulation form. For example, plaster or clay or soil or something like that. And inside, unfortunately, I have no image, but it's almost like yes.
This one.
This one. This one. You can see some part of the inside. Like this. So it's also like in the cave. But we can paint and we can spray.
Personalize
Yes, from the and because as for the plastic, it's easy to get fire. But if we use clay or soil, it's much more better than the plastic. So we are trying to get soil. Thank you. Yes.
So, what about when you can fit the space between the open drains with soil? Soil is much heavier than foam.
Yeah.
So, do you need any auxiliary structure element, or can you press somehow the soil enough to get it resistant?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. And for example, the concrete, this one has a little air inside, right? But we will build inside house with soil with much air. So it must be much more lighter weight, and it's much more better for the insulation. So we are trying to get to the some of the machine to spray the soil or clay with organic glue to put the much air inside.
So you have a kind of foam.
Yeah, right. It's almost like foam, but I think it's very lightweight. heavier than the plastic form, but it's very, very light to keep the insulation. So, and I always collaborate with the carpenters and also the patissier to cook the Western cake and the Japanese traditional mochi cake or something like that.
Bueno, no os preocupéis porque en septiembre vamos a montar un taller aquí de Instant House y podéis participar. I'm telling about the workshop.
This summer.
Van a venir con 15 estudiantes japoneses y vamos a participar 15 estudiantes de aquí y vamos a hacer un intercambio. Nosotros les vamos a enseñar a hacer bóvedas tabicadas, que aquí las hacemos con la gorra, más o menos, y ellos van a enseñar a hacer los Instant House y además estamos experimentando, estamos creando cosas. Vamos a ver si hacemos Instant House comestibles, porque vamos a proyectar un material comestible, después nos comemos la casa, y otros experimentos que son al final realmente cuando uno aprende y se lo pasa bien. Yo digo que es un poco la filosofía que ha tratado de mostrar, que al final hay que estar abierto. Fijaros, es una arquitectura desacomplejada completamente, que al final es producto de inflar y a lo mejor hay que aprender de esa sencillez de las cosas, y sobre todo cuando tiene una función tan noble como pues voy a montar una cosa rápida porque la gente necesita tener alojamiento. Me parece que es un gran ejemplo. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.